podcast? You can now find us on Patreon at the LunaPod, where you can show your support for the podcast for only $1 a month. Or for a little bit more, you can get early access and bonus episodes, contribute to our podcast segments, and receive exclusive video content as we film our reactions, reviews, and discover new K-pop groups. Head over to Patreon now to join the community. We can't wait to chat with you. I am so excited for all of the Halloween content that we are about to get in a few weeks.
I'm ready for special performance videos. I'm ready for costumes, all of it.
Oh, yes. I'm so excited to see what people will dress up as this year, because I feel like a lot of different movie franchises have come out.
Ooh, I wonder, will we get Barbie?
I hope so.
Taeyong, if you're listening, I need you and Jungwoo to get on this whole Bella Edward thing again and do Barbie and Ken. Hi, welcome to the LunaPod, where we talk all things K-pop. I'm Brooke.
And I'm Raquel. Today we are going to be talking all about K-pop comforts. I feel like fall embodies comfort in general, and K-pop itself is like a comfort. But let's go into the details of the specific things we find comforting in K-pop.
So, starting out, we'll kind of go through our groups that we find comforts in. We did previously have an episode called The Types of Biases and included some comfort biases in that as well. So this is kind of just expanding upon that. So for my comfort groups, the first one is TXT. They're honestly the first group that I really dove into all by myself, no influence from friends. And their older music, the softer eras or Blue Hour, were just so foundational in my K-pop roots. And just that whole time and the aesthetic of it all is very comforting itself. But with their more recent stuff, I was in a bad place 2 summers ago. And I would just listen to Chaos Chapter Freeze on repeat when it came out, especially while I was at work. I was in housekeeping, so I was just in rooms by myself, jamming out secretly when I wasn't supposed to. And it was just that time where I was listening to that, plus the sunset coming into the room was the only happy thing of my day.
It's so pretty. I mean, and that's a perfect definition of why we're even doing this episode of things that you find comforting in your rough times. If you're listening to an album or a song or a group on repeat, it's obviously bringing you some comfort.
Yeah. A next major comfort group, which I feel like I discovered more so after we went to their concert, was 17. They just have so many members, and they just have a big dynamic within that, and they all just make me smile in very different ways. I feel like that's why I have such issues finding a bias.
They are one of the hardest groups to find a bias for.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, the concert itself just kind of defined this for me because we went there super last minute on a whim. We had our nosebleeds, and we were just chilling. We just sat there the whole time and danced around in our seats. It was just very relaxing time. And I feel whereas other concerts, I feel almost stressed out a little bit. With them, I didn't feel that at all.
No, after that concert, it turned more into the highlight of our whole trip.
Yes.
But yeah, definitely stay tuned for our 17 concert review to hear more about that one. But I totally understand where you're coming from.
And of course, we can't do anything without mentioning ONEUS.
Oh, 100%.
So I feel that's a combined comfort for us just for the billionth time. If you, for whatever reason, don't know by now, the LunaPod, we named this podcast after their song Luna. So that in itself is just we just found a lot of comfort from that time and era from them. And they just hold a very special place in our hearts because they were the first K-pop group we ever saw. And each member makes me very happy in their own way, kind of similar to 17. I feel like they're all very different and just bring something so unique to the table. And even though they don't know it, they're our besties.
Yes.
Secretly, they're our besties. So I just always trust that they'll kind of come back to us, and they're just that kind of a home base of a group for me.
Yeah, exactly like you just said. I feel like this group is just so foundational for us. Love everything about them. Their personalities are so fun. And I feel because they're a smaller group, yes, they come back to Orlando, but it also almost feels more personal. The smaller groups you feel more connected to. And their music is just so uniquely them, and it's just a sound that really scratches my brain in the right way. So yeah, they are absolutely a comfort group.
And similar to how you just said, scratching your brain the right way, that's what Extraordinary Heroes does for me. It's just the sound that I absolutely crave. I've mentioned it before, can't even remember what episode. I just grew up listening to a lot of 60s and 80s music from my parents, and that unique creative sound that they all had is kind of what I get from Extraordinary Heroes, especially with parts of Dear H and Man in the Box. And I just love them to death, and just reminds me of the comfort that I get from old groups. There's just a connection that I have with my parents and my sister and her mom. It's just a very family thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's holds deep roots
it's a very wholesome feeling for me. Also, we continuously say this where Test Me sounds like a Scooby-Doo song.
Listen to that song and then listen to the Scooby-Doo intro song. They have the same vibes.
It's like, there's always the scene in like the movies or episodes where the gang, I feel like I'm like, this is a Scooby-Doo podcast now. Oh my god.
Wait, that's iconic.
Can y'all please stand Scooby-Doo so I can talk about this more? Anyway, I'm so dead serious. But yeah, the gang will run around like chasing after the ghost, or the ghost is chasing after them, and there's always like an amazing song going on. And I feel like if they were to do like an episode based in like Korea, could you imagine?
Oh, that'd be amazing.
It's literally this exact same sound. I can't get over it. And for whatever reason, when I first listened to Good Enough, it reminded me of Sweeney Todd, specifically by the sea scene, where they're like having kind of like a little picnic on the beach, like that kind of vibe sound. I rewatched that scene in that song and I was like, does that even sound anything similar to Sweeney Todd? It really doesn't. So I don't even know how. I genuinely think it's the vibe. So I would recommend me making y'all do all these tasks today. Go check out Scooby-Doo and test me, and then go check out Sweeney Todd by the Sea, specifically the picnic scenes with the sound of Good Enough. It's about the vibe. I don't know, there's something there, and that's just comforting to me. And Mamamoo, this was the first girl group I ever got into, so again, that's kind of just like an instant comfort, 'cause it's like
the first one, foundation, yeah.
And I mentioned it in our How K-Pop Changed Our Lives episode, where I kind of mentioned they're my K-pop version of Little Mix. I was very into Little Mix back in the day, and they were such a comfort for me. Just the messages they gave with their songs, how they held themselves as women was just very inspirational for me at that age. And I feel the same way about Mamamoo now. And they're just very comfortable with themselves and make sure to have their fans like feel that same way. So I really appreciate them. And then my last one is Only One Of. This group, I can't.
Yeah, literally same. Like, we went to this concert and I cannot stop thinking about them.
I fell so hard in love with every single one of them.
For real.
They bring a different kind of comfort that I feel like a lot of groups might not. And so I took note of this, that they give me the same feeling as my comfort shows. If you're comparing my comfort shows and them, it makes no sense. But it's about the feeling. So for whatever reason, I have a lot of comfort in Sherlock. And I had at once the biggest comfort in the Norwegian show Skam. What do those have to do with anything? Absolutely nothing. There's no connection.
Well, it's just like a show that you can watch whenever you're feeling anxious or down or anything. You just continuously go back to it.
It's just whatever it is, like the comfort I get from that show, the scenes, the characters is what I get from Only One Of. I don't know like what that means.
Mentally. We need a psychoanalyst to come through and figure this out. Yeah.
But they're just a very trustworthy group, and so I love them for that. I don't know how to explain how mentally them and Skam are the same thing. I don't know how.
I know. Well, I'm like genuinely kind of curious. Like, I want to watch someone psychoanalyze like comfort things, and like why do people choose the comfort things they do? Like, I want a deep dive on that.
I mean, I'd love to know because my comfort character is Joker. What's that mean about me?
I don't know.
Help. But hey, that helps a lot because I literally have Hansei referencing a Dark Knight scene, Pew Pew in the ballroom, in the wine glass. I had Honey
doing his Joker car moment.
Yes, he had the car moment, the police car moment, the scene in the bank with the bus.
Right.
I feel like there was another one recently.
Was it in the Stray Kids thing that we just watched?
Oh yeah, but I feel like there's someone else.
Yeah, I don't know. Like there was too. Because I was we were shook over the fact that they like referenced the Joker. Was it Ito at some point in time?
Oh, I couldn't handle that, so no.
Okay.
Because I was like checking off biases for Joker references. They know.
It was somewhat, they know. Yeah, again, what does that say about the subconscious?
What's that mean about me?
Google's, what does it mean when I bias the Joker?
Who's your DC bias? And why is it the Riddler?
Yeah. Why is it Scarecrow? Oh,
I love Cillian Murphy.
Same. So now moving on to my comfort groups. The first one I've got to talk about is TXT. I've talked about this before, I think in our TXT group chat, but I have a really hard time ranking TXT because they're genuinely such a comfort group for me. They're just very reliable. I love all of their music. Honestly, their fandom's drama is just very low. They have amazing content, and I just feel like I've known them forever. Like, they are just a part of me in a way, which is funny because they are not the first group I got into. I am not like a super knowledgeable MOA. I could know them more, but for some reason, I just feel very connected to them. The second one is Day 6. Again, I have talked about Day 6 many times before, especially in the How K-Pop Changed Our Lives episode, but their music is so unexplainably healing to me. I think it has roots in the music that I grew up with, very similar to you and your K-band that you love, Extraordinary Heroes.
Yeah.
But I just know that every single song that they release will be something I love, and so I really look forward to any time they pop up on my playlist. Next group is SHINee. I do not even know how to explain this because I am a baby Shoal and kind of a baby stan in general, at least compared to Shoals who have loved SHINee for 10 plus years. But I feel like, again, I've always known them and I feel like I've been standing them for 10 years. Again, very similar feeling to like TXT and then also BTS actually. I just have a weird deep connection with them. I definitely don't know BTS as well as I could or as some people do, but I just feel very at home with them. And I'm always so excited to hear whenever SHINee releases something new or they have any sort of news story that pops up. I get very giddy and excited.
Well, I also feel like that says a lot about the group if they make you feel like you've known them for years when you haven't. Like if they make you feel so comforted and like, you're one of us.
Yeah, absolutely. And last but not least, Ace. Where do I even start with this group? I feel like Ace was one of the first groups I truly got into on my own, kind of very similar to how you said earlier. And they're just so unbelievably underrated. Their music is so amazing and they are such fun people in general. Every member is so individually comforting to me and I feel like they are like my group. Like I just feel very like protective over them. Like I don't know how to explain that. I know we've had conversations about this before because you feel kind of similar about Victon.
Yeah, and I was literally about to bring that up. Like this is just kind of funny looking at this. Not that we listed all these groups, but my Extraordinary Heroes is your Day 6.
Yeah.
My Victon is your Ace. Like I feel very protected, like they're mine. But it's also funny because we both know the other group, but we don't
necessarily like fully
we haven't
stand
like fully swapped. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like,
yes.
Most groups we stand like together.
Yeah.
Whereas like Victon was very much like mine and Ace is very yours.
Yeah,
so that's
that
like
is so
funny
true.
itself. And then we have only one of is kind of like your Ilas.
Yeah, that's very true.
I feel like there's
So
like one more.
interesting.
Well, just our old groups in general. But
yeah, that's true.
it's just really funny.
But like we still like enjoy each other's old groups too. Like not to the point of like Ace and Victon, to be completely honest. Eventually we're gonna get deep into them, I'm sure, because we'll do more episodes on them in the future. But yeah, that is a very interesting discovery. So next, let's talk about our comfort biases. Again, we kind of talked about this at the beginning of the episode. In our types of biases episode, we talked about a, quote, comfort bias. Now, these idols are not necessarily our bias for the group, but they're just the ones that bring us comfort.
Yeah, I don't think I listed any of my actual biases for the group. Did you?
No, I don't think I did either, actually.
And collectively, we actually both have Connie from One Us on our group. Personally, his smile just makes me melt. He just has the most calming presence. Anything you watch, whether it's like a live stream, interview, just him on stage, it's just so comforting, like I guess energy he gives off. And he's such a cute foodie.
Yeah, he is.
Like we watch all these videos, he like loves food, and like he had that one, where were they? They were in like this like restaurant and they like made a sauce. Because he just loves mixing
sauce.
stuff. Yes,
Yeah.
Connie sauce. So I just like, I think it's just cute how much he like loves that kind of thing. And he is on my husband material list, so I feel like that has to count for something.
We've said this before, but he is the perfect boyfriend material and husband material, to be honest. I feel like we could hang out with him as a friend too. Like that's how much comfort he brings. It's like I could sit in a room with this man and feel very like comfortable with him. Not that like I necessarily feel uncomfortable with other idols, but I just, you would get nervous if you were sitting in front of like your old bias, right? But like I admire Connie so much, but I feel comfortable enough that I could like speak to him as a normal human being.
And next on my list is Seungkwan from 17. So during that concert we went to, I completely fell for this man. He kind of took charge a lot during that concert, and I just love the way he supports and cares for his members and other people's fans, etc. He's definitely one that has one of those addictive personalities. You just like want to laugh no matter what is coming out of his mouth. And I didn't know how else to put this except for the fact that he has the complete opposite of a punchable face.
That makes sense, strangely enough. Yeah, like the complete opposite.
Like when we do our 17 group chat, I might literally put that as like visual how to tell him apart from other members. He has, not that anyone in 17 has a punchable face.
Right.
He's the least punchable. It's just so cute and soft. Like why would you punch it?
You're not wrong.
Well, that's all I gotta say on that. Moving on. I have Hyungwon from Monsta X. So Monsta X is my alt group, so literally everyone's a comfort. But right now, Hyungwon. So much. Again, I feel like I'm making a lot of dumb references that makes... There's no connections. I'm connecting no dots.
But if you get it, you get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's Princess Diana to me.
Okay. Wait. I understand.
I feel like people are like, what? And I feel like a lot of people just clicked off. But please get this. He is like the people's idol. How she was the people's princess.
Yeah.
He is the people's idol. Very genuine, kind, comforting, literally a walking meme. So relatable, just unintentionally funny, very endearing. Like everything about him, you're attracted to it, whether you're trying to or not. You can't help but love him.
I fully
So
understand.
he's Princess Diana. And he recently started Che's Drift on YouTube, a channel. And he's like having little idols come on with him and everything and just like hanging out. He'll have like therapy episodes and it's just like him chilling. It's very, very cute.
That's adorable.
And comforting
It's very him,
in
yeah.
itself. Yes. And he's just a cozy, awkward long boy. Now, Brickell dies over like long boy. I keep calling our cat Long Boy when he's all stretched out, and she just like can't stop laughing every time I do it.
Something about the something about when you call someone or something long, when it's like it's supposed to be tall, but like long makes sense, but it's not quite right. Something about it just gets me. He is long. It makes sense. I'm never gonna unsee that now. I hope you know that.
He's just Princess Diana Long Boy.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna apologize. I feel like I'm having no transitions whatsoever to my next topic, but we're just gonna keep rolling. So next is Bobby. This man makes me giddy. He makes me smile like a complete idiot for no reason. He himself has a very addictive smile, but more so, I feel like it's his like energy on stage and his passion when performing that is so contagious. Like you just feel that immediately from him and just like radiates off him, and I just find a lot of comfort in that.
Feels so personable.
Yeah,
like everything about him is just fun to watch. He's like meant to be on a camera and meant to be like in front of people.
And I think it's because, you know, all these idols, they're amazing performers, but with him, it literally just looks like he's having the time of his life, just so chill. So it makes me feel relaxed and comforted.
I remember we were watching one of the Kingdom episodes recently, like performances, and we're just reminded he was just laughing and smiling on stage and just having the time of his life. And I'm like, this isn't a competition to him. He's just chilling.
Know. I just feel like I continuously find more endearing things about him when you, like at a first glance, you almost kind of get like a coldness from him, just like, if you were just to Google a photo of him, like that's kind of what you get. But yeah, there's a lot more to him than that first glance, and I feel like I keep learning more and more about him as I'm kind of getting more into Icon. So yeah, he's made it on this list. And I absolutely have to shout out Namjoon from BTS. He was one of my first biases when getting into K-pop, and he was just like the comforting like aura that I needed and just giving me all the words in the world that I needed because he's very poetic.
So well, yeah.
It's so amazing. And so like, yeah, now I'm the biggest Yoongi girl ever, but at the time, he is very much what I needed.
If you don't understand what we're talking about when you think of a comfort bias, just think of RM, because I don't know who wouldn't see him as a comfort bias, to be completely honest. So like, if you're trying to figure out who is a comfort bias to you, look at how RM treats people and makes you feel. That's the vibe.
And even the content he posts on Instagram is very comforting. It's just him like going out, going to museums, like just everything about it is calming. And what more do we need than the leader of the #1 K-pop group who loves museums, bike rides, and crab hunting at the beach?
That's adorable. Yeah.
He just has a lot of cute qualities about him. And as a collective, I'm going to shout out the bears.
Yeah. When idols are a bear emoji, I feel like they have a very specific comfort to them. Like think teddy bear, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So shout out to Kun, Taehyun, Yuno, Shonu, Kai, Haechan, Bumgyu, and literally so many more. It's about the aura, and I'm waiting to build my Build-A-Bear and name it Haechan. I've had this mental plan for forever, but I need the perfect bear.
Yes. We've literally been talking about this for like, what, a month or two now?
Yeah.
Speaking of bears, I actually have one of them on my comfort idols list. Yuno from ATEEZ. Very similar to how I feel with Connie. He is just the most perfect boyfriend material. I think he is so genuine and so kind, and he has such a perfect balance of like fun and calm in his personality that I find very stress-free and comforting. And then also Jin from BTS. Something about Jin is so calm and again stress-free. He's just so hilarious and makes me happy. Like I feel like anytime I am feeling down or blue, I can guarantee that Jin will make me laugh again. And if I wasn't already biased in BTS, I would 100% consider him my bias because of the comfort I feel with him. But I do have a very strong bias in BTS, but that is saying something, I feel like. And also, Jun from Ace, I feel so safe with him. I feel like I could be 100% myself with him and he would truly not only accept it, but like defend it as well. And I feel this way about a lot of the members of Ace, but Jun and his smiles and his happiness, along with like his leadership and security, is just so comforting. So I decided to put him here specifically. And then last but not least, Youngkwang from B2B.
How could you not have this man?
I don't know. He's consistent. He's just one of the most funny people I have ever seen in my life. I just know that I'm going to be happy and laughing whenever Youngkwon is involved. He's just very reliable, and I feel like on top of that, he is such a great vocalist, and having amazing music in general is just comforting too. So yeah, definitely had to put him here. And then some very quick honorable mentions. Bangchan and Sungmin from Stray Kids. I feel like the whole Bangchan thing is very similar to how you feel with RM. He was kind of one of my first biases, and then also just that leader qualityness and like the reliability of him is just very comforting. And then Sungmin, for some reason, just randomly pops into my bias line every now and then, and I am always so happy when he does. I absolutely love his energy. And then also, I just have to shout out a lot of really random NCT members will be very comforting to me at random points in time. Even like a couple months ago when I wasn't fully into NCT, there would be a random member of NCT that just decides to be all over my timeline. And I'm like, you know what? I want to know every single thing about you. So I don't really know what that means or how to interpret that, but I thought I should say it here. And before we wrap up our comfort biases, we need to do a quick shout out to our ults and our top groups because they are all encompassing and they are absolutely a comfort in their own way. So ATEEZ for me, and then Taemin and Songhwa.
And for me, it's Monsta X, Yoongi, and Changbin.
Like they bring comfort and everything else. So like, of course they are involved in this, but we're not necessarily dedicating this episode to them because we already talk about them basically every other episode.
And then moving on to a different part of K-pop that brings us a lot of comfort are the songs themselves. So for me, my number one, I think, will forever and always be 17's unit BSS with Fighting. Again, with the whole smiling like an idiot. That's what I do when this song comes on. I just light up and I immediately want to dance, and it just makes me so freaking happy. And I know that's like kind of like the point of the song, so like they did incredible with that. They nailed it.
No, I get it. It's like it's not necessarily on my list too, but whenever it comes on, you just can't help but smile so big and like do the little dance. Dance. You can't see this, but I am doing the dance.
And it's like the members themselves in that unit are like just huge comforts, so it's all making sense. And with ENHYPEN, their songs Upper Side Dreamin' and 10 Months, these are some of my top songs if there's any way. I love the beat and the choreo for these, and I feel like that's why I love them so much. It's just like very cute and very just fun and energetic. I feel like some of not all because I'm looking at the list, but some of my comfort songs are just based off of like the energy and like happiness it exudes.
You can always count on them to lift up your mood.
Yeah. Very similarly with Kihyun's 'Cause of You, I just love to sing along to this and just smile the entire time. Again, it's about like kind of like the melody and the beat of this as well. Now with Victon, so many of their songs are very comforting to me, but Where Is Love and Carry On are big ones for me. They're kind of my more like emotional songs that I find comfort in. I'm trying to remember what it was. I don't know if I was just like in general I think I was going through a rough patch because work was being a hot mess for a second, and I was on the way to work the other job, which is fine, and I think some of the members had just announced that they were leaving the company.
Oh, right.
And so it was kind of like up in the air group-wise what was going on, because like some were enlisted, some aren't, so it's like Victon's a lot right now, and so it was just like all these things going on together. I was literally pulling up to the wedding venue, crying.
Oh.
I think it was technically Where Is Love was on. And I was just like sobbing going into this venue, and I was like rolling up to security to like get in, and I'm like, okay, I need to chill out because I don't need this man to be like, why are you crying?
Like, listen, it's about Victon, don't ask.
It's about Victon, it's not about the wedding. But yeah, those are just like my songs where I'm feeling emo, I want to listen to those. And I'm so sorry, but Extraordinary Heroes, Good Enough is just a comfort anthem.
It is. Oh my gosh, the vocals in it are amazing. It just like
I feel like you can have any emotion and the song is perfect for it.
Yeah.
If you're feeling if you're feeling angry, like listen to it and you'll be able to let it out. If you're like crying or upset, same thing. If you're happy, like you can rejoice with it. This song is perfect.
Yeah, it really does fit every single emotion.
It does. And bringing only one of back up again, all of their little solo songs for their duets were amazing. But Be Mine and Begin are probably my tops for those. Just a very comforting sound, and the concepts were so well done, and the videos are just so beautiful. I would say again all of them, but those two specifically my tops for bringing me comfort.
I feel like Only One Of gives you that extra level of depth because of the detail and story that they tell in their music videos.
Yes.
That's all. That's all that just popped in. I'm like, you know what? That does like make it more emotional, to be honest.
And then Park Bo-gum's All My Love. So technically he's an actor, but we're shouting him out anyway. Very much a soft spot for this actor because I'm not the best. I'm very good with K-pop. I'm not the best with K-drama. That's a whole other, like,
yeah.
It's like the worlds are connected, but it's a whole extra world.
And it's very complex, in my opinion.
Yes. I feel like the craziness of standing NCT is the insanity of K-drama as a whole, because all the little subunits and people are in different units all the time. But then with K-dramas, you have all these actors. Well, crap, he's in this drama and this one. And I feel like I'm having to, like, make lists of actors and then make lists of dramas and then, oh, they're collabing with this person. It's like, it's a lot for me mentally. Yeah. But I'm, like, trying to be good and get kind of more into it. That was the craziest ramble ever. But he was, like, one of the first actors I watched. Anyway, he has a stunning voice, and since he is like that first actor I really loved, I find a lot of comfort in him.
The first comfort song I have on my list is TXT's Anti-Romantic. This song makes me sob for some reason, especially after the concert. It always kind of made me emotional, but I swear I watched that video that I took of this song, and part of it is not even, you can't even see anything because I'm like moving the camera and there is nothing to be seen, but I still like sob during it. I feel like I've always had an emotional attachment to this song because I loved it before I got into K-pop, and I just have a lot of memories tied to this song from that point in my life, and it's a point in my life that I really enjoyed, and so like it just brings up a lot of really good memories. So I absolutely love Anti-Romantic. The next song on here, I honestly was not expecting to put on this list until I was going through some songs, and it's Halazia by ATEEZ. This song releases tension for me for some reason. Honestly, there's not a single ATEEZ song that I skip, but this one in particular is just so comforting. And again, I feel like I have a lot of memories tied to this song. It's just so pretty in sound and the music video. It's very aesthetically nice, it's storytelling nice, and I just love it. I always end up going back to it. The next song on my list is Under My Skin by Taemin. I have said this before, but Taemin sings from his soul, and you can hear that so much in this song. I don't know the lyrics, but I feel so understood and seen with this song somehow. It is just absolutely stunning. I also have Domino by Kai. I get immediately excited anytime this song pops on. It is just so catchy, and I feel like you were saying with like some of your like hype up songs too, I can't help but smile and sing along to this.
Well, and just a side note, if you are in K-pop and you have a song titled Domino, it's an instant hit.
It is.
Because I haven't heard a Domino K-pop song that is bad.
Facts. So yeah, if you haven't heard Domino by Kai, I really recommend it. It's just an energy lifter. And then, of course, Luna by ONEUS. I had to put this song in here, not just because of like the fact that it ties to us and the podcast, but it is just everything I want sound-wise in music. It is so captivating, and it truly, truly does not ever get old. And then last but not least, I have Killing Me by iKON. It is a classic. It is one of my top K-pop songs and top songs of all time. I could just dance in my car all the time to this song.
We're going to take a small break and remind you that if you're enjoying this episode so far, make sure to follow the podcast and turn on notifications to make sure you never miss an upload in the future. And if you'd like to show some love, feel free to give us a rating as well. We'd really appreciate it. Okay, before we jump back into the episode, it's time for K-pop Guilty Pleasures.
If you're new to this segment and don't know what we're talking about, a K-pop guilty pleasure is something that you just absolutely love. For example, when a certain idol has a certain hair color, or when a certain idol wears a certain style of glasses, or a certain sound in a song that you absolutely love hearing. Something like that. This week, we are going to talk about our K-pop guilty pleasure of airport fashion.
I didn't know this was such a big thing. Like, people care about what their like faves wear, regardless who they are, if they're like into American artists or like actors even.
Right. But airport, I have never considered or associated with fashion. That is always, you look like you just rolled out of bed, you have your hair up, no makeup on, you're in sweats, and nobody's looking at you because they want to go on a date. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then K-pop comes around and we have specific airport fashion where they're stopping and taking photos because they look so good coming off of an airplane.
Yeah. Even their like casual airport fashion looks good. Like, I could wear the exact same thing and look like a complete idiot. Nobody's stopping and turning their head at me.
but they're wearing their sweatpants and they look like they're going on a runway. I don't understand. Anyway, I love airport fashion. Whenever it comes up on the timeline, I'm like, ooh, what were we wearing today? What did we just land in? It's so much fun, and I absolutely love seeing it. And I feel like it really, really shows idols' individual style as well.
It does.
Because usually, like, when they're doing outfits for a concept or, like, for a music video, like, yes, it's still them, but it's also for a theme. So, like, airport fashion is very much genuinely them and what they enjoy wearing.
Do you have anyone specific you love? Their airport fashion? I mean, I feel like it's hard to kind of, like, my brain just automatically thinks of J-Hope.
Yeah,
he has like a really
good.
cool style.
Well, and then I always really love seeing what Taeyong wears from NCT too, because he just has such fun style, and I feel very similarly about Hongjoong. Everything he wears makes me very excited to like see what he's come up with and put together. Anyway,
we're back. Next, we're gonna talk about videos that we find comforting, like different video content. So for me, 100% Johnny's Communication Center.
That's a good one.
What else would I ever say? There are honestly, like, a lot of idols would do like vlog style videos, but it's not super consistent. And sometimes like Johnny's Communication Center isn't always very consistent, but you can tell he cares about it a lot, puts a lot of like dedication, time, effort into all these videos. And I just really appreciate that these are just like done by himself, like on his own, and just like obviously like, crew helps him a little bit, like staff. But it's very much him. Yeah. And I love that. I've probably watched, there are a lot of rewatch episodes of these, and I definitely have certain ones that I go to for comfort. Now, Monsta X, since they are my alt group, I am going to rave on this for a little bit. Somebody can come and correct me if I am wrong, but I'm going to pretend like I'm not wrong, because I swear, literally no other group does this for their fans. Every group like goes off and enlists, and they might have like occasional videos that like pop up for like, oh, it's our anniversary, or like it's my birthday, so here's a video.
But I've never seen any other group put this much effort into stuff while they're enlisted.
Literally. Yeah. So if you're not familiar with like the group or like what they do, when a member enlists, they have so many pre-recorded videos ready to go so that while they're gone, we get a video from the member once a month. And so right now we literally have 3 members enlisted. So it's a lot, and like we're missing them constantly, but again, we know that at least once a month we're going to get a video from them, and it's not like it's super short. They're usually at least like 13 minutes long, and it always starts with like their enlistment behind the scenes of like the member that's like next in line after them to enlist shaved their head. So it's kind of like a, what is that, like a rite of passage kind of thing?
Yeah.
And so Shonu already happened. That was Shonu's. And then, so currently we have Let's Go Ray, which is Minhyuk's. We have Joohoney Walker, which is Joohan's. And then we now, recently, Kiki Trip just started, which is Kihyun's enlistment video. So they're all like very themed, just super cute. A lot of variety of videos that happen. One of my favorite, like it was so random, but like a Shonu one was like he spent a day as a mama bae. Aww. And he just like went out to one of those like pre-order benefit things and like was like getting the photo cards of his members and stuff. It was really cute. Video. Yeah, like I just,
we've said this before, but nobody loves their fans like Monsta X loves their fans.
So I just, I don't know, just like I really appreciate that they put so much time into making sure fans have content while they're gone, because not every group does that. Now, I have a lot of videos outside of K-pop that I consider comfort videos.
Yeah, me too.
A lot of them are kind of related to like random YouTubers going paranormal ghost hunting.
Right,
that's a common theme. Love that so much. But so kind of related to that is Going 17 episode, I think it's 27 and 28, when they go to like a, it's not a haunted house, but they do like a walkthrough and they're trying to find keys to like escape this building, and there's like quote unquote ghosts running around with them, like trying to capture them.
It is so funny.
It is hilarious.
We've watched this multiple times because it is so entertaining. It's one that you can watch over and over because you find something new every single time.
Yeah. And so they kind of like separated into different like groups and went in like several times, like competing against each other. It's genuinely just so funny. There's a video on YouTube where it's kind of like a compilation, I guess, where somebody just kind of like pointed out the funniest moments, and they just like edit it so perfectly. It's hilarious. So like even if I don't have the time to dedicate to rewatching like both episodes fully, I'll at least watch that. And then In the Soup, oh my gosh, pure comfort. So they have BTS version, 17 version, and then Uga Squad, which is like BTS Taehyung's actor friend group. All 3 of those groups did In the Soup, which is just like them going on a little vacation in the woods, like by the lake, very, very cozy. It feels like they're getting a vacation, like they're still working, like they're filming something, but it's
just
casual.
low-key.
Yes, it's like they're camping basically. It's very cozy.
I remember I haven't watched all of In the Soup for BTS, and I haven't watched any of 17 or the Ooga Squad, but we did watch some of BTS's In the Soup.
Yeah, I think I showed
last
you.
year.
Yeah, I think I showed you like few episodes.
Yeah,
because
there's a lot of them. It's a lot of content, and like even those few ones that I did watch, that is such perfect background noise, or like just to turn on to like focus or study or just again feel comforted. One of the videos that I absolutely love and always go back to is the Awesome Haein and Ace collab that happened. It's called KCON School Interview. This is the video that made me really fall for Ace, and it is just so funny and so sweet and is definitely one of my go-tos. Also, any and all of AT's content, like we said, ults are ults for a reason, and I am always so happy and laughing and sometimes even learning things with their behind the scenes, their interviews, their challenges, their reality series, just anything. I know that I will absolutely adore their content. And kind of like you said earlier with the compilation version of the 17 reality show, I absolutely love compilation videos and TikToks because this is where I truly get to know idols and groups, and it's just super fast, it's super informative, very, very fun, so I definitely spend a lot of time watching those. Since we are talking all things cozy and comforting for fall, let's talk about some fun things that we want to do this fall that kind of involve K-pop.
So I think we recently took a trip to Walmart, and the second we walked in, we saw pumpkins, and I was like, oh my gosh,
cue fall,
love pumpkins.
cue October.
We should carve pumpkins. And then I feel like at the same time we were both like, we have to make K-pop pumpkins.
Yes, like do it somehow related. So we're still that's still in the process of like we're figuring out what to do, but that would be really fun. I'm very excited for it. Similarly, we were thinking about decorating cookies or like making a cake or something even.
But I feel like it'd be fun, especially for a comeback. Like we should do that one night. If there's a big comeback coming up that we're very excited for, we can like
make themed cookies.
Yeah, like
that'd
make
be
themed
fun.
cookies.
I also want to like play around more with our bar cart and make drinks, themed drinks to comebacks. We've been thinking about this for so long, and I want to start doing it. And speaking of drinks, we of course are going to go cafe hopping. We love doing this in general, love some coffee, and that is fall embodied, so we will definitely be stopping around some local coffee shops, especially because they tend to do themed drinks around the holidays, and that's always fun.
There's a cafe that we love, and they tend to do like holiday themed flights for coffee. Like you can get it either hot or iced. It is so much fun to go. I think they have released their fall drink, so we need to go soon.
Ooh. We'll also probably have some nights where we love having calm nights where we just sit and we watch variety shows, movie nights, play K-pop games, and also during this time we'll probably work on making freebie bracelets because we have a bunch of stuff for it and we love doing it, we love giving stuff out, so we'll probably do that as well.
Like I previously mentioned with me wanting a Build-A-Bear and naming it Haechan, just Build-A-Bear in general, every time I go, I have a new idea of what bear I want to make. There's too many options. There's currently a pumpkin spice bunny and I need her.
That's so cute. Oh my gosh.
They have like a little pumpkin spice latte prop.
I love that. Every time we walk by the Build-A-Bear thing, I see the Toothless.
Oh yeah, Toothless.
And I immediately want to get it. And I want to get one of those voice recorder things and have Songwa's voice in it because he is Toothless. So I'm like, that's just so cute. Yeah, we definitely have a lot of Build-A-Bear plans. Before we head out for today, let's talk about fandom culture and how comfort fits into that.
I feel like some people just really need an escape from daily life and get very into their interests.
It's a strong word, but hyperfixations is one that I feel like people are becoming more knowledgeable about. But like there's a reason that people get super into things. It brings them a sense of comfort. And so it makes sense that something like K-pop being an interest would become something that is comforting to people.
And just many things can make people happy, even if it's something that others find silly. So like, yes, ours is very much K-pop, but it's honestly no different than like following sports or even being very into like the fashion world or like foodies. They'll literally like go travel around trying different foods and like needing to try different restaurants. So
it just brings them so much joy. Yes. It's the same idea.
It's just whatever niche thing that you choose, honestly. And we're kind of going to say like a few of our like very silly interests that nobody will really get, and then our fandoms that we've been in throughout the years. So my silly things that I'm very into are gold mirrors, bonus points if it has like mercury on it, like you know how you like paint with mercury.
Yeah.
It's so pretty. Containers. This is like the inner mom for me.
Organization.
Yes,
yeah.
I love to be organized. So like my pantry shelf, I have like all these little containers that I put all my snacks into. One day I will be extra and get more containers to put the snacks inside, so it's not a bunch of mix match colors, shapes, and sizes. Everything will be the same. And it'll bring me so much joy.
Someday. It's in the plans.
And I'm meaning to take you to the container store because I want you to experience it.
We pass by it a lot. I think about it.
Yeah. And I'm very into wax seals. Now, I work with weddings a lot and people use those for like invites or like their menus. They'll place them on there. That's like a random, like, you know how people like weird and not weird, but like, cause I was that kid who like collect rocks.
Yeah.
Or like maybe people are very into buttons.
Or stamps. Or
yes. Like I feel like that's like the same thing.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of my current day
but
rock
like wax
collection.
seals have an elegant, like old feel to them.
Yes.
Like, yeah, they're very, very cool.
I would love to like get into that. Like, what am I going to do with these wax seals? I don't know, but I want them. And other ones, I'm very into horror, anything related to it. I don't even know how to explain that. I could just see like the most simple horror thing, whether it's like a movie reference, book, whatever. I'm smiling. Again, what does that say about me? I don't know. And I mentioned him earlier, but the Joker, my biggest comfort character in the whole wide world. I also feel like this is kind of rooted with Heath Ledger, but moving on. I don't want to cry tonight. And cinnamon. Now, if you would have asked me this years ago, I would have said peach. Because I loved peach, everything, the color, the flavor, the smell.
Kai
now.
Yes.
And like peaches and like the whole like sunsets, like the colors, everything about peach was perfect. Still love it, but now it's cinnamon. Browns. The most beautiful color in the whole wide world. Y'all are like, what the hell?
It's a pretty
stunning.
color. Yeah.
The shades of browns and tans make me so happy. And it's
they
like
match
a cozy
everything.
color.
Yeah.
It's such a comforting color. It's very fall and I love it. Cinnamon flavored things. Ooh. If it has cinnamon on it, in it, whatever, I'm there. The only cereal I'll ever get has to have cinnamon flavor. I don't know if y'all had cinnamon Cheerios. Not sponsored. Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Immaculate.
She's perfection. Apple Jacks. Yum.
We had a whole discussion about this the other day, about all of the types of cereal that had cinnamon in it.
It's so good.
It is so good. See, now, I'm actually allergic to cinnamon oil, so I can only relate to this mildly, but I get it.
Cinnamon buns?
Ooh, cinnamon rolls? Yeah.
I don't know. If it has cinnamon in it, I'm there. I love it.
So some of my silly things include ASMR. I don't know why or how this started, but it is so comforting to me and helps me sleep at night, so I absolutely adore it. And then also SpongeBob. I have SpongeBob everything, and anytime anything SpongeBob related is seen, I get immediately happy and giddy about it. It is just like my childhood wrapped up in a nutshell.
Ooh, flashback. I'm adding one to my list. That's me with Scooby-Doo.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that is a good one to put in there.
My parents just moved to a new house, and she like brought all my plushies and like moved them to my new room. And I have like this really big Scooby that was like laid on his belly. So that's literally
so
at the end of my
cute.
bed. I'm 25, y'all.
I love it.
And I love him.
Listen, I've got my stuffies too on the bed. They're an addition to the coziness of the room. No, I get it. We went to Universal Studios probably about a year or more so ago, and I found this giant cup, mug of SpongeBob doing a yoga pose. I instantly bought it. I'm not one to really buy material things, but I love yoga. I love SpongeBob.
Well, and you have like your SpongeBob hoodie. Do you have sweatpants?
Yeah, I have SpongeBob hoodie, SpongeBob sweatpants. I have a SpongeBob blanket that my cousin made for me that I use all the time. I love SpongeBob. I own the first 8 seasons on DVD. Absolutely love SpongeBob. I also have very interesting hyperfixation moments where I'll get super into something for a couple of months and then I'll like kind of fall out of it, but the interest is still there and the knowledge is still there. So some of those things include Tesla cars. I don't know why. I can't explain it. And then also, especially recently, I've been very much into AI. And then jumping back to my SpongeBob blanket, I just find a lot of comfort in blankets in general.
Makes sense.
Like, I always tell people I can go without a pillow, but like a blanket, I gotta be wrapped up. I also I feel like a lizard sometimes because I'm very cold-blooded. I cannot keep myself warm internally, so I always have a blanket around me. And then I also get really into the most random objects, specifically like stickers or glue-ins or stuff that I can put into a journal.
Well, those are kind of like sentimental things. Like, I feel like you always have like a box of just quote unquote junk, but just like memories and kind of thing. Like, I'll even keep the little what is that called? When you go to an event and they tie, or like a fair, and they tie the thing around your wrist.
The little paper
I would
thing.
keep that.
Oh, I still have them because here's the thing though. You call me crazy. I have this thing called scrap journaling. That's what I've coined the term as, because I used to journal like crazy. I probably have 7 completely full journals that I've done throughout my life. And it turned into, I had so many things I wanted to put in there, and I was scrapbooking and I was journaling, and it became too much. So I mixed the two together, and I stick the thing in my journal, and then I write about it. And I'm like, oh, this is perfect. Should have thought about this. So every event that I like want to write about or do, I will have like little glue-ins for it. So that's why I like accumulate all of these things, because it's what I'm talking about in my journal, which I've been very bad at and I want to get back into, but
I know it's hard to dedicate time towards that. Like I get really into bullet journaling and then I fall out of it because I'm like, I can't do this every day.
Yeah.
But I feel like I've been like pretty good recently about like other things I like to keep up with daily. So maybe I should try again.
Yeah, there you go. As soon as I can find some time, I'm sure I'd fall right back into it, but
And then jumping back into fandoms that we've been in throughout the years.
because I feel like every K-pop stan has some other fandom roots.
Like, because I feel like unless you're getting into K-pop very young, I don't see how you haven't been in a fandom before.
Exactly.
Because that would be like a crazy fandom to get into for the first time.
One, yeah.
Oh,
Because fandom
gosh.
culture has evolved a lot.
It has.
Because like you even think back, I was talking to my mom about like the boy bands that she liked when she was younger, and there was still a bit of fandom culture in that.
Yeah.
But like the way it has grown and developed over the years, it's very different nowadays. So like somewhere along the line, had to have been into some sort of fandom at some point in time.
So the most duh one ever is One Direction. Like that is a lot of people our age, like their roots of like fandom culture, was obsessed from like day one, watched absolutely everything they came out with.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's very much when I got onto like stan Twitter. I haven't got off since.
Yeah, I'm in a similar boat. That was my first, like, I feel like, again, big insert into fandom culture because it had all of the internet stuff that you could be fandomy with.
And I feel like there's a lot of times where like I would kind of change. I was One Direction fan account for forever, and then I just kind of like changed it as like my interest changed. And so other ones that I was very into were American Horror Story, Star Wars for a while, The 100 was a really big one. And I don't remember what order all of these necessarily were, but I remember I was almost like falling out of stan Twitter, and then I saw a picture of a singular character in Scum, I think it was Nora, and I was like, holy crap, I have to watch this, like, because they were just like showing scenes, it was just popping up on my timeline, and I was like, this looks really good, and I got so into it, and like, biggest derail ever, they were doing crazy fan service for this show. They literally made Instagram accounts for the characters pretending they were real people, and they would post.
That is dedication.
It was amazing. So that was like a big fandom, like reintroduction almost for me. And then Sherlock as well. I feel like that was probably one of the last ones before, or like, I mean, I was into like Marvel too, so I feel like Star Wars and Marvel were kind of at the same time, and then like I would say Sherlock was my last big one before probably getting into K-pop.
So I kind of tried to put mine in an order as best as I can remember, but again, my hyperfixations tend to go very intense, but not necessarily for long amounts of time. Some of them lasted a while, but some of them can be very fleeting, and so there's definitely ones in between these that I'm sure I'm forgetting. But the first one I can solidly remember was Star Wars. Very similar to you. And then it kind of turned into YouTubers and YouTube in general. I just got very into them. And then, of course, One Direction. That was a huge one. And then it turned into Pentatonics. That was a good, probably year or two that I was into them. And then I got super into House Hunters, which again, I know sounds silly,
That's
but
really fun though.
Yeah, I was very much into that show. And then it turned into The Dragon Prince. That one was massive. And then that kind of transitioned into My Hero Academia and anime in general. And then that transitioned into cosplay. And then from cosplay, I went to K-pop. And then from K-pop, also K-dramas and Thai dramas and all of that. So it kind of a just big, like, nice progression into different things. Yeah, they all kind of intermix in some ways. So that was kind of my timeline of fandoms there. And honestly, we say these things because there is no reason to feel ashamed to be a part of a fandom, to be a fangirl, or to like K-pop in general. It's something that brings you comfort. Everyone has their thing.
Yeah.
So, like, there is no reason to be ashamed of it. And honestly, people will come up and they'll ask me all the time about, like, the things that I like doing, and I'll say K-pop, and they give me a look, and I'm like, it's music. And then they're like, oh, well, yeah, I guess that makes sense. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? It's something to love. It's something to enjoy. And just know that when you're listening to this podcast, you're not alone out there. We also love K-pop, and we will happily talk to you about it every single week. And as usual, we are going to end this episode with our song of the moment. This week it is going to be
YO Universe by Vicha.
This in itself is a comfort song in general because we watched the entire A to K series as it came out. Definitely feel like we have a connection to the girls and are so excited to see their progress in the future. And definitely stay tuned because we are going to be doing an episode all about A to K and Dream Academy. We're super excited to film it, so definitely stay tuned for that one. If you want to shout out your favorite song for the Song of the Moment, as well as participate in more of our podcast segments, you can join us on Patreon at the Lunapod. We do all sorts of content over there, and we would love to have you interact with the podcast. As always, you can find us on Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube at the Lunapod, and on Instagram at the Luna Podcast for up-to-date information on episode releases and behind-the-scenes fun. We post all sorts of content, so definitely make sure to follow us and check that out. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. Bye!
Okay, that's it. What are you wearing on a plane?
I'm wearing sweats.
Yep.
Someone take a picture.
That's what we should start doing.
Our own airport
Bitch,
fashion.
That's the
Poses
next
like
post.
them. Put sunglasses.
Yes, that is
hats.
the next post. We're gonna stand out in front of MCO.
Oh my god, we have to do that.
Okay,
That's funny as
you
hell.
know the, I don't even know what they call it, like American Core or something like that. Like the dumb photos idols take in front of like Wells Fargo,
We need to do
gas,
that.
like 7-Elevens.
Oh.
We need to do that, but like think of like what, I don't know, where would they take photos here?
Yeah, we need to think about that.
Apparently
Literally on the streets
in
of
the
downtown
streets.
Orlando.